that your music?
Excited for this week, yeah?
You're a DJ? Okay.
All right. Such a good week. Huh?
Hey guys. All right, let's do the market review. Okay, let's do it.
Hi.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, let's start. Okay, so let's do really quickly. Let's go through the monthly chart. Where are we on the monthly chart? Okay, really quick. We are climbing through here. So it looks bullish. Still 410 is the target. Last week we couldn't get there. I think this week we can try to get temp to 410 on the bullish side. If we get rejected again, I think we go right back to 380 is where I'm thinking. 380 is about right here, right? See how it's lined up here? So if people learning how to draw support resistance, I mean, there's support here. See this? It bounced off this area. See that? So, okay. So that should be pretty straightforward for the monthly. I think we're bullish. We're breaking out of this downtrend here. Okay. So we're bullish here. Monthly. Do the weekly chart. On the weekly chart, this is the hammer candle. Okay. So you remember the shape of this it's a hammer candle. Buyers push this back up to here. So, but on the weekly chart, there's this green line, which is the 50-day simple moving average. So that's a big target, 403. We need to be able to clear 403. So once we trade into this 403 area, there's going to be some resistance there. Okay, 403, then 410. That's what it's showing on the weekly here. 403, then about 410, right? And if you don't have the 4010 chart line on your chart, then you're going to have to re-practice because this line's got tested here, 410, and then tested here, 410. So twice. It's a really big line, and then here too, 411. So this line's really big on this chart. Okay. Bullish, if we get through earnings this week, 410 is a good target, has to clear 403. And if we can't do it, by the end of the week, we're back under 380. We're back at 380 here. So if we can get rejected here, come back. If we're bearish on earnings this week. Okay, we really have to let it all. Like if
Go ahead.
Do you think there's another supporter? Maybe 385 could be, but I think if it gets rejected off this, it's coming back down here, right? That's pretty straightforward. It's coming right back down where it's here.
So what's showing actually on my option chart is okay. So like here, if you look at the open interest, right? Open interest. We've seen this before, right? When there's not that much open interest deep in the money puts, that means usually the market kind of goes down. Does that make sense? Because now, even if they shorted this, what's there to make money off of, right? So then since there's nothing up here, that's when I was like on Friday, hey guys, so I do believe like it's going to go down. But if you look at the open interest here, like 9,000, then 222. So the 9,000 is at 390. So just keep in mind, this is for tomorrow. If you go to the next day, let's see if it shows that. Where do you think 380? I don't think it's going to go to 380. There's not enough volume to support that.
There's 386 and then 380. So there's the 386 line too. There's a line at 386. There's a big support there, but
okay. I agree with you that 386 is very possible.
I mean, so if you guys are wondering where 386 comes from, look at how the market lines up right here, 386.
Oh, good point.
It's lined up very perfect here. So if this thing gets rejected, okay, so the big question is this. Does the market break out of this big downward channel, right? Like that's where the market's trying to do. The market's trying to break this channel. And is it going to do it this week? This is the daily chart. Like there's going to be a couple candles in here. And do we start breaking 400, 410? Like if we start breaking out of this downtrend, it's going to be a big move towards FOMC, right? So the market's going to be watching this downtrend.
Especially because if you saw, before, Google was supposed to do their earnings on the 24th, which is Tuesday, right? They changed it all the way out after FOMC. So now all the mega caps that were supposed to report this week all changed it into after FOMC. So if they're the ones that's going to be moving the market up, right? And they're not there anymore to be supporting earnings move up, then I'm actually going to say market could definitely go down for SPY. Now, that doesn't mean for all the other companies, but as far as SPY goes.
Okay, so just for learning purposes, okay, just realize that we broke out of this consolidation. So breaking out of this consolidation tells us that so this took a while, 2 weeks of consolidation and then breakout. And then now it's consolidate. I would say it's trying to consolidate it here. And this consolidation could mean a bigger breakout is coming, because this, I don't know if this move is done yet. I think this breaks out, consolidates, and breaks out, and then consolidates some more. Okay, this is called market up market, right? Like this, we're breaking out. So I'm bullish, leaning towards this. I'm bullish because of technical analysis and the fundamentals that are driving the market. The market is really pricing in. So now the market is really pricing in. Let me pull over this. A 25 basis point hike only in FOMC on the February 1st. Okay, so this is what the market is showing. It's only 25 basis points now. It used to be 50 for February, but it could be. Look, it's 100%. 25 basis points now. It's 100%. Okay, so it's already priced in. The market really likes that 25 basis points number. Okay, so
that's good. That's a good sign, by the way. That's really good.
Okay, so let's do this. Let's do the probabilities really quick. So show you guys. So looks like 25, right? Looks like another 25 coming here, and then March 25, 20, 25, and then flat. It's gonna be flat for the rest of the year. Looks like they're not gonna hike interest rates anymore. Look, because it goes right across like each of these months: June, July, September. It's gonna be the same. Okay, so the market. Look at this. So you guys understand, the market is pricing in the rate to be about 475 only. Okay, but every time the Fed speak, like Bullard or Kashkari or somebody speaking, they keep saying they'll raise the rates to 5.25, 6, or 7. That's when the market keeps pulling back every time they talk. Yeah. But the stock market says the rate should be under 5. So that's the big debate. Okay, that's the big debate. All right. So now that you guys
look where it starts going down a lot. Look, 82%, and then what did I say? May, right? Wait till May to go long. Do you see 5.3 to 2023? Like, do you see that? That's when 57? I said let's go long, because that's when, yeah, exactly. That's when after Q1 reports, after portfolio repositioning, and after Q1 earnings. So Q1 earnings reflects January, February, March. What happens during then? What's going on now? Lunar year, right? Chinese New Year. For 1 month, Chinese people don't do anything. That means nothing gets shipped here. Well, that's going to be bad for discretionary, right? And that could be bad for like tech companies that's like out overseas, their offices, because they're halted in production and productivity. So it lowers the GDP for like a month. But all of that's recouped back into Q2, which is that May, June, July, August run that we usually have every year. So, so you can still kind of, trade a little bit small, keep your risk like not fully on, unless you're in like something really low long term, and then the short term, take the opportunities when it's given to you, whether up or down.
All right, so let's do Tesla, because Tesla's earnings this week. Okay, Tesla's chart is very, very bullish. This is one of the most bullish charts there is right now, because this is breaking up. Like the downtrend is now being broken, and there was divergence. We studied the divergence on this chart a couple weeks ago, signifying the reversal, and now it's making this confirmation through. Okay, so now the question is this: the earnings. I think the price action for earnings is initially in after hours, it's gonna dip because margins are being cut. sales prices, all the bad news. But I think that the next day, I think Tesla's going to go green, and I think Tesla's target easily by this. I think by this weekend, and Answer can double check, it's going to be north of 150. Is to a conservative target, north of 150 for Tesla, and even maybe it will test 155 the 50-day simple moving average for Tesla. Okay.
Okay, so if you go back to Tesla, like let's say we go to Tesla, and then we get the earnings. So on my small account, I got the 150 call, right? Remember I said I'm gonna get rid of the February 10th because I thought, okay, it's a little bit kind of like, what if it pulls back? I don't want to like lose all of it, but just in case it gaps up, I wanted to still like hold something that will hold implied volatility, right? So look at the IV here. This is like pretty high for this week, but and then it gets like a little bit lower because in this week is when FOMC and the rates decision is taking place, right? So 13, 17, 19. So here's earnings, right? I'm actually planning to trade this only for earnings or if it continues. But if you get this 17 points, that makes it 150, right? That's why I said let's get the 150. So if you get that, and then we look at, okay, how is this trading? It's actually trending upwards and it's on this like channel that's like going up, right? So as long as it like continues in this path, you can possibly see, I'm not saying it's not going to go down. You can possibly see a pullback, right? Like it could maybe come down to here, but that doesn't mean it's not getting to its target, okay? It just means it's a pullback because there's volatility in the market. So I would just kind of use the expected move, but get like a cushion with a later expiration so that you don't feel so much of the volatility until FOMC, or we can like protect it. This one's a cash account though, so I didn't protect it. I just laid off on one of the
How about,
positions.
and then for the students who are listening, for the students who are, I'll give you, okay, so can we give them, suggest a vertical spread for them? So if they have a small account, they can still trade it, right? They can still get
yeah.
Okay, so just to give, I think a reasonable vertical spread would be, what do you think? July,
So I usually go for
January
the
27th. No, that's too cheap. 140 for 375 for the call, long call, right?
Do you want long term or short term? For the short term, I would suggest like getting inside the 25 delta and getting outside for the short for the 20 delta. So what I mean is like you could go long the 150 at 30 delta, right? And then go short on the 160 or 165, right?
Short
Because
the
if it's a
160,
15
but what expiry though? What expiry for the 160?
for February 17th, I'm talking about monthlies.
February 17th. Okay, wow. 52 cents. Okay.
So that if you do the 150 and the 165 for February 17th, that makes your spread only like $2.50, right? $250.
Yeah. And then that way you can make money if Tesla breaks out on the upside.
But then if it goes down, you're still protected.
Well, if it goes down, you won't lose that much, right? Is that fair? You won't lose that much.
But when it pulls back, right, the short protects, it gains profit. So once you find it back at support, you could just buy back the short. And then you'll be green on the upside, green on the downside for both of them. I'm going to go over more on verticals, but let's just do market review.
But that's I wanted to let them.
Oh,
so Tesla.
okay.
Okay. All right.
So, but
so
yeah,
Tesla
that's a really good suggestion. I like the idea about getting the spread, but then the reason I'm saying let's get the 150 and the 165 is the possibility of it hitting 15 points is very high because that's the expected move anyway, right? So your inside strike, the 150 call is going to hit in the money. But let's say it goes up a little bit higher, but it doesn't hit the 165. Do you know what happens? You make money on the 150 and you make money on the 165. So the chances of you winning, regardless with the strategy, is higher or protective of any downside.
Okay, before we go into crypto, okay, let's do earnings still. Let's do highlight the biggest ones, right? Tesla is on Wednesday.
Boeing is going to be big. Microsoft on
Wait,
Tuesday
are
is
you
going to
bullish
move
on
the market.
Microsoft?
So Microsoft, if you saw in like the recent, you know how like Microsoft, okay, so here. So Microsoft, remember how I was like saying, hey, let's study what happened with Netflix, right? I picked two of a high strike, but then, you know, Netflix, look where it went. It went right to here, right? And I said, if Netflix runs, it's going to run a week to 2 weeks after. So look, it could still hit into the 360, the original target, right? But if on this day, right, it went to the previous high. Look at Microsoft. And it almost went to the previous high, right? But then if on earnings, Netflix was able to go just above it, like above its previous high because the market moves together, then I think that we could aim maybe like 140, the 245. I said get the 240 on Thursday when it was down here on Thursday. I was like, hey, let's get the 240 call for next week. And then it actually shot up like 10 points. So that was like a really good swing. I think we can continue it to the 255, but it's going to show here. So Microsoft, right? And it's showing into this week a 12-point move. That's a pretty big move considering like where it was, right? So if you look on the options chain, it's showing, okay, where's the smallest implied volatility in the open interest? Okay, it looks like it's actually going to go down first, right? Because there's not enough puts here. But if it does go down, it's gonna just pull back to the original area. So if it goes down back to 230 or 235, let's say in this area, maybe to here, 230, 235, then you know, hey, you know what? The first thing, what do? Get the 240, 242, right? Because we've already seen it there. So we just want like a pullback to actually get another chance at Microsoft if it pulls back. So you just have to remember, okay, this is my target, 242.50, 242.50 to 245. So if you get that chance, not after it's running and then you get the 270 because it went to 250. Does that make sense? So if it pulls back, then you can aim for there. If it hovers in this area, right, within like a 5-point range, that's when I would suggest, hey, why don't we just get some protective calls, like do a spread then? Because now the range is too small, the implied volatility could be too high. So the deeper it pulls back, you could go naked calls. But if it stays in this range, you want to be a little bit protective by adding longer time frames, right? Like maybe into like February 17th or like even into like next quarter, right? So which is going to be a bullish month here, right? It jumps 10 points. So you can still profit even if you go like 40 points out of the money into the 280. So this, if it moves like 10 points, what happens? This becomes 7 or a little bit more, right? Maybe a little bit less of a profit, but less of a risk also. So that's how I would kind of strategize how to play Microsoft. But what are your areas?
I have it. Okay, show my screen. I have it as I think 256 because that's a 200-day moving average. So 255, 256 is a great target for it because even if it, let's say it goes 5%, 5% is a $12 move from here. So it's going to break into the 250s, right? And I really think Microsoft could beat the, right? So Microsoft, even if it does 4 or 5%, it gets it to the 250 range, right? And if it's extremely bullish, then I'll test 265. But into 250 is a good target for it. That's a conservative target. If it's surprise beat somehow and it overcomes their cloud, because lately Microsoft has having issues with their cloud problem, Azure's, right? That's the issue. So if it can overcome that this quarter, then it would break. But I'm bullish over 250. So 250 is a good target. So I agree with you. But you said 280? I don't know. 280 might be a little.
No, I said don't do that. I said don't do that.
So 280 could be a little bit far, right? 280 is right way up here. So that could be a little too bullish. So yeah.
No, yeah. I meant 250, 245, 245. But I expect a pullback. So once it pulls back, then you're going to get a better price, right? When the IV drops, when the options premium drops because the delta drops. So that's when you want to get the Microsoft is what I'm saying. But if it hovers in that area, then a pullback could happen if you bought it before Microsoft reports earnings, just like what happened with Netflix, right? So I'm learning to, like timing it or when to get it. So let's try to get as cheap as possible on any pullback so we get better opportunities of win rates.
Okay, let's just review Netflix really quick here, one sentence on it, because it actually broke through the resistance.
That's really strong.
It broke right through the resistance. So it's
Oh
actually
my goodness, that's really good.
I would say somewhere after FOMC, once they do the 25 basis point hikes, the market shakes out the commentary and the 25 basis point hikes, and they remember after FOMC, there's a big possibility that the market is no longer doing any hikes. So that says that after FOMC, the market could be ripping straight up for like 3 days straight. And that could take a lot of these large caps through the roof, right? So I just don't see how after FOMC, the market tanks, because now the market's saying, hey, look, now there's no more rate hikes. Actually, the market could be tanking because there might be a recession. Okay, so anyways, the scenario could be this market could be ripping straight through to 400 in the next couple of weeks because of FOMC, right? Okay, so Microsoft, should we pull up the Boeing chart? Because they're doing Boeing, right?
Okay, we'll do Boeing and then Visa, and then let's do crypto.
And then we'll do crypto. We'll do Boeing.
Crypto's ripping over the weekend. We want to get into things
Intel,
like,
And you also trade Intel. Like Intel, let's look at the Intel chart too, no?
Okay.
Microchip.
Oh man,
Okay.
I'm just so excited for tomorrow though.
So how do we chop up this chart first? Let's see here. There's a major resistance coming up first. And major
you see
support.
Michael? He has no lines. He's such a good trader.
So
he has no lines and he's like, it's going to here.
Well, no, it's first of all, I want to know its average true range. So it could move about, on a good day, this thing can move about $10 a share. Like on a good day, right? Like look at this. On a good day, it can move. So $8 it can move. So let's say BA does good in earnings. BA does good in earnings. This thing could be at 225 in a couple days.
Oh my god, you have my target.
Like this thing could be there. Okay, so first it needs to clear this recent resistance here, this top here. So let's see if it lines up with anything first. Like why was that? I want to know why did it consolidate here? What's causing this consolidation? It looks like this area from here to here and here to here, there's this big supply zone. Okay, so there's some resistance all the way through here. Like it's going through here. There's some resistance all the way through. There's a big resistance here. Like this whole area of consolidation here becomes resistance for Boeing. So Boeing's going to have a hard time. Like a good target for Boeing, a reasonable one, I would say is 220 if it's bullish. Like, because if Boeing breaks through this consolidation, it would fly straight to 260. And I just don't think the market is ready for Boeing to go to 260 yet. That means investors are not just jumping into Boeing yet, because there's a looming possibility of this mild recession that's coming, apparently. Remember, the banks have told us, most of the banks are pricing in a recession sometime this year. Like, that's always in the back of people's minds here. So 220 on Boeing is a really good target. Plus there's resistance up here. It's getting rejected down here into this moving average and then right here. So this 200-day is going to act as resistance here up in this level here. Okay, so 200 is like here. So 220.
That's a really great area.
Okay, so that's how
I would see my chart.
Huh?
It's actually aligns with your chart. So like on my chart, right? Yeah. I have it almost similar to yours. So this is on the 1 year time frame. Look, we're almost back to as if like this year didn't happen, right? So it's so close. So this was my earnings target, and these circles are time frames and exact price action. This height is the same. So that means it's moving the same height, right? So same price, same numbers, right? So that means from here, 114 to 173. Does this make sense? So and then the time frame is also the same width. So I just duplicated that price action 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 1, 2, right? So into this area, if we just retrace back, all we did was do a lap, like a loop back into where we were last year. And this is right on earnings. Does that make sense?
And
So I would
just to make it
aim
clear,
for here.
just to make it clear, like this is the target is where you want your strike price to be. Like if you wake up tomorrow and buy a
You
call
want your
option
strike
for
to be under it. You want
you
your
want the
strike to be
strike price
under
to
it.
be, if the target's 220, you want the strike to be 218. Would
Right.
that be fair? 218, okay.
Right.
And clearly, if you buy a 218 strike for this week, how much would that be? Let's just double check. How much would that be, really quick?
217.50 is going to be $1.40, right?
$1.40. So you're putting
If
in
this at
$140 to make this bet, right? And if BA
and then
does
it'll
really
go to $5.
well, if BA does really well, it goes at 230. Guys, that 140 turns into $500. It turns into 600. It turns into $6. You'd be like deep in the money, okay? But if it does reasonably okay, at least you'll try to, you might get near your target. But if BA does really bad, you lose $140. Unless you buy the weekly, the expiry for next week, right? How much will next week cost?
Okay, so for next week, it's showing it's going to move $13, right? So you can go as high as the 220 strike. For this week, it's showing that it's going to go $10. So exactly what we said, 207.50, right? I mean, 217.50. So this is the 217.50. And then next week is the 220, right? So 220. Yeah. So here's this. I could show you on a monthly because it's going to have a bigger history. So we'll just go to, okay, $17 for this one would be like 225, right? So it's right back at support. Does this make sense? So if BA goes up, this one will become like $6. So you're going to get 3x. The closer expiries, you're going to get a little bit higher of a percentage, like 3 to 4x, right? Over here, you just have to calculate the expected move, right? That's 13 points, and in the money, $7. So if it costs you $190 and in the money is $7, but it takes 2 days to get there, what's the theta? 2 days times 0.20 times 2, right? So that's 40 cents. So this goes to 780 minus 40 cents because of the time decay. So now you know 190 can become $7, right? So that's going to be a $500 profit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Potential. Okay. Right. So that's BA. We talked about BA. We're bullish on BA. Overall, I'm bullish for this earnings too. The reason, except for some retailers, like retail sales came in weak. Remember last week it came in negative 1.1. So that means are people buying TVs and shopping at Walmart and going to Williams-Sonoma? Maybe not, because retail sales are down.
But it's so oversold on some areas, so that like we saw what happened to SI, right? They lost over $800 billion. That's the worst earnings ever with the negative EPS. So they're losing so much money, more than they've actually ever made. But the price was able to sustain itself at $12 support and even shoot up $5 on earnings. Like, what the heck was that, right? So it just shows how oversold and undervalued now companies are. So if we're finding things that support and we see pullbacks, that's the time to buy, okay?
Well, Logitech.
Logitech I really like because they're a tech company. You know, the mouse that we use, or if non-Apple users use.
There's the equipment, right?
Yeah. Texas Instruments is also reporting. But this one, it kind of pulled back. What is your chart saying? What would you say? I think this has the potential to go to 60, like 5 points.
I mean, there's this big gap here. I have to figure out why it gapped down. Okay, so like how come Logitech gapped down? That's what I want to know.
Okay, so look at this, right? It pulled right back to here. Exact support. Look at this. Exact support. This isn't never a coincidence, okay? Look, it touches here, goes up again. Touches here, shoots up, touches the same line. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then now we're back to here. So where do you think it's gonna go? Maybe 60, right?
no,
It's at
because
$55. It's at $55. And then if you look at the expected, if you look at the expected, it's showing $5, which takes it exactly back to $60, right? Okay, what were you saying?
So the reason why, Esther, the reason why Logitech gapped down is because it released preliminary third quarter earnings. They told us ahead of time what the results are going to be, and they are not good. Okay, so we are disappointed in these results. So don't get me wrong, and we know what happens if earnings, like chances are it's going to come back down some more. Okay, so the earnings is not good. They've already told us. That's why this thing gapped down that day from here to here. So I don't know if we should go into it with calls. That's probably not.
You could get a strangle. It's only $1 actually on each side, right? So if you get $1, no, actually it's 60 cents for the 50 puts, and then it's $1 or 90 cents for the calls. So total your investment would be like $1, like 70 or something, right? But then at the money it's $3. So you have a chance to 2x either way. Does that make sense? So look, the cost of these two, I'm going to show you. The cost of these two, the 60, sorry. This one and this one, right? It's showing a $5 expected move, right? And you can see it both on the chart where it can go either up or down 5 points, up 5 points, maybe down into this support area, like 50 points right here. This is 50, right? So if it falls, maybe it goes to here. So if the cost of both are about like 170 or so, or something like that, and then at the money it's like $3, then that could be a possible trade. You don't have to trade it. You could just watch it to see what tech results might be.
We don't have to trade every earnings. No, we don't. Try to trade the big ones. Scalp. Okay, scalp the other options plays. Okay. Okay, let's do
Bitcoin.
Okay, let's do. Okay, no, let's do Bitcoin review, and then we'll do the economic calendar, because remember, any data coming out that's suggesting a recession, like the market pulls back on it. Okay, so we got to be aware that this data is coming out. Okay, so let's do Bitcoin. You show them that your Bitcoin crypto is bullish, but what's the next resistance on crypto? I think from memory.
Can I show you guys one thing? Okay, I want to show you this one thing on Microsoft, okay? Because this is kind of important. I want to show you what happened to SPY when Microsoft had earnings in August. I feel like the same thing's going to happen. So Microsoft at that time, August, where is it? August earnings. So this was the earnings, okay? This was the earnings date. And then it kind of like did this like weird flippity thing where it's like it went down and then it shot up. And then the whole market shot up. And then I think it was like in here. Microsoft went first, and then after Apple went, then Apple saved the day, and then the market started going. I feel like this is gonna happen. Like if you can screenshot, actually I'll just screenshot it. I'll make sure like you guys remember this. This is what happened in August, like July earnings, where I was like Microsoft first. Look at the date, okay? Look at this date. Then it went up, and then it pulled back, right? Then after Apple earnings, the whole market went up, right? So, and like SPY did the same thing. So just keep in mind that could be possible for this quarter. If we are, and then we hit like a peak, then we know we can get puts. And I actually always get puts in like February, March anyway. Okay, so this one, and then MSTR. Oh no, sorry, MSTR. So you can look at either. Remember, I was talking about Coinbase like a week ago, and I was showing like insider buying and like all these like directors and the CFO and the CEO all loading, right? They were both direct shares and indirect. So indirect, Michael, what's the difference of direct and indirect?
Okay, direct. When you do direct, you are selling directly to one investor. There's no dilution, right?
Buying?
Indirect, yeah, indirect.
SEC filings?
You raise capital through a broker. Like there's a middleman, right? There's fees and there's dilution. So direct is better. Is that what they
So
said?
what I did was
Like,
I went to NASDAQ, right? And then I went to, okay, I wanted to go to like insider activity, right? And check like, okay, what are like, oh, oops, I was just there.
are you talking
SEC
about
filings?
directors or dilution?
No, I was talking about direct and indirect purchases. Look, so what I was
Oh,
seeing,
okay.
look, indirect ownership, right? Direct. This is
Okay, yeah.
acquisition. Who is this? The director, right? And then
Okay,
so if you
wait.
keep
So
going, right?
let me answer that question for you. Let me answer that question for the audience. When you see direct, it is them buying it for their own bank account. They own it.
Yeah, like the
But when you
company didn't give it to them.
no, when you see indirect, there is a hedge fund that they're buying it for. They're buying it for a hedge fund or they're buying it for some other fund, but they're buying it for somebody else. So it's indirect. So either way, they're still buying it, but that person can also own a hedge fund or some sort of a intermediary, like a brokerage or something. Okay, so that's all. That's all. When we look at it, we just
Look
want to
how,
know, did they buy it? Yeah, that's all.
yeah, look at this. This is the CFO, okay? They're getting direct ownership with their own money, this many shares on Coinbase,
Yeah.
right? On the 29th, the day I said, hey guys, this is the market bottom for crypto, right? The 29th, this was the exact bottom. Look, exact bottom was the 29th, this date, right? Into this date. So they filed it like right into this day, and then it bounced again. And then here, they were like on the 6th, right here, they added again, right? Does this make sense? So for people that like want to kind of like get some more confirmation, like this is more confirmation, right? When you see insiders, like they're buying like whatever that they can, that whether the company gives it to them, their direct shares, their indirect shares, whatever it is. It's like they've been loading every single dip, right? Acquisition. Nothing's like they're not disposing of, right? So this is a very bullish signal for crypto market, I believe, especially with like they're about to break out. So with this weekend creating another $3,000 gap, where previously it went from 17,000 to 20,000. Now it's going from 20,000 to 23,000, right? So if you look on like Coinbase, on this one, now it's switching over instead of deep in the money puts, because you can tell, like, okay, there could be some volatility, right? But most of them, look, this is what you want to see. More of them right here in this 40 to 80 delta on the call side. Like it way overpowers. And then this is deeper in the money put. So that means it's like, okay, maybe short-term volatility is possible, right? But if it's saying, hey, Coinbase is $55, right? It can't go down $140. It can't go down $70. It can't even go down $44. Does that make sense? So go for the one it can't do. So if you're kind of like, oh man, did I miss this? You know that it's not going to go to $10, right? Probably. So then you can get, okay, let me get at least from September, because it could possibly go down 37 points, but I know it's not going to go down 44. So if you get that 44, that makes it 100 points. Then it only costs you $4 or $5, right? But then look where it used to be. If you look at where it used to be really, really high. Why isn't it coming out? Come out, come out, come out, come out, wherever you are. Okay, it's not coming out because maybe there's no history. Okay.
There should be.
There's no history on that one. We'll go to January. We'll go to January 100, see where this was. I didn't get coin, but I'm just showing you coin because there's more liquidity than MSTR. But if this was $5, and just in the past like 3 months, this was in like $22, right? $5. Where was Coinbase 3 months ago? Like, right, 3 months ago, it was $70, $80, right? So if Coinbase goes up another $30, you can expect your $7 to go to $20 plus. Also like a 3x, right? Like $5, $6, $7 to like 20, 21, 22. So that's how you can kind of like spread out your options and determine, okay, where is it going? But then if you also look here, it shows you when there's a pullback. So look here, there was a pullback not in here, in MSTR. So you can see it in different types of ones. So MSTR right here, see here, this is June, right? June it goes up and July it goes down. So I have to ask Andrew why. But it goes down in July and then it shoots up. Do you see this gap? But then that's also a 6-month gap. They don't want to show you what's in between. But then just know that, hey, this can't go down to 85. So that means it's up, right? Does that make sense? Okay, go ahead.
Okay. I mean, the technical chart shows something a little different. So okay, so just be prepared. Okay, for this big chart, it's a very big chart. Okay, so it's very, look, the reason why I say it's big is because this thing used to be 368, right? 400, like 400 here, like, and then it went to 30. This thing lost 95% of its value, and then now it's bouncing. Okay, so what we want to know is what is the downtrend break on this. Like, okay, so I'm gonna try to figure out right here. Like, was it right here? There's like a downtrend break here. If it might have broken this and it's climbing through it. Okay, so possible. I just want to know what the next downtrend break looks like. Oh yeah.
No downtrend.
Oh,
The insiders are loading. You know what? As soon as it gets to support, you saw the insiders just boom, like the bottom of the day, right? The 6th, the 29th. Like, it's not a coincidence.
Okay, so let me make it easy for you. Okay, so I can't find the downtrend break. It's fine. It might have broken this small downtrend and climbing through it. But see this line here? See this line that I'm drawing here? This is a very powerful line on this chart. And I say that not to say, hey, Michael, you're a good chartist. You know everything. No, I don't. It's okay. So it's this.
Oh, 60. I like that.
Okay, see this line here? Okay, this line, this 60 is where it got tested many, many times. Rejected here, broken through here, ripped through here, held the support here, and broke down here. This 60 line is coming up on Coinbase. So
it could happen actually tomorrow because look at the expect
a pullback. Expect a pullback in the crypto market. Maybe it's a small pullback. Let's say it's a small pullback. It hits this, comes down for a couple days, consolidates, goes back up, rips through it, and then the market is really bullish. But I would say expect a pullback on Coinbase and crypto in the next couple of days once this line gets tested. Market wants to see
we saw what happened last week, right? Yeah, when it ripped on the weekend, remember what happened? Monday, it was so bullish, right? Do you guys remember last week? It was so bullish. And then people that forgot to take profits, what was it, Tuesday or Wednesday? It was like, oh my God, like I lost all my profits, right? So don't get stuck in doing that. If you get into coin on the short term, get the short term and get out. If you get it on the long term and you decide to keep holding it, maybe scale some out and switch it over to long term or like put a protection or something. And then, but know that the $6 expected move, right? The 6-point expected move is showing that Michael's 60 is very, very highly likely. So if you look at
open interest on it compared to the other ones? Like, what's the heaviest open interest on put?
That one, 60.
Like, oh,
60 versus the 52. 52 to 50. 50, that's actually just the expected move though, right? So you can get a better gauge by seeing, okay, look at like different expiries. So let's look at the monthly, right? So if you look at the monthly, then it's showing, okay, it's going to go to like 14 points. So 14 points would be like 70, right? It's usually the expected move. They're always going to have the most. Like 7 points. It's at the expected move. So just know that it can go to 60, it could go to 50, either way this week. So, but I think it's going to open up strong because Bitcoin just ripped like 3,000 points.
Yeah, so no. So don't get me wrong. Tomorrow Coinbase could be at 60 when it opens, but expect a pullback on such a big. Remember, crypto went from 16,000 to 23,000. It's up 50% from the bottom. Do the math. It's in on up 50% from the bottom. Yes. So expect a retracement. Expect people to take profit.
Okay, so if you look at insiders for Mara, right? Look at Mara. Where's Mara? Mara. Let's see if we see the same pattern. Like, are they buying here? Okay, same thing. Acquisition direct, 28,000. Okay, this is a director. Acquisition direct. This is another director, right? So, I mean, overall, it's showing like crypto is insiders buying, even just the companies that's related to Bitcoin, right? Where'd you go?
Okay, let's do the economic calendar, okay? Okay. Let me pull it over. And we have to, so like last week, I was personally thrown off a little bit by, you guys had a really good week. I didn't because I got thrown off, and on Friday, I wasn't there for that bullish move, okay? So, okay.
It's
so
okay.
anyways, so let's remind everyone the retail sales for last week sold off the market. Wednesday, the market sold off. So that was a big move. It went from 400 all the way back down to like, right? It was this big red candle here. Okay, see this big red candle here? And this big red candle had a lot of volume on the move. Okay, like there's a lot of selling pressure on this move. So this 400 here, this test here, is massive on the SPY. It's going to have a hard time breaking through this 400, if not tomorrow. So this 400 is enormous on this rejection move. So this is big. It happened on retail sales, right? So let me see here. Where's the calendar? Can I have it again? Okay. So wait 1 second. So that's the 18th. Okay, so that's the 18th here. Retail sales cards, and then all the different Fed speaks, right? Lori, they all spoke and they're all bearish. Okay, so Friday was OpEx. Friday was OpEx, and the market made a good recovery at the end of the day, and it closed at the 200-day simple moving. It closed right at the 200. Okay, so the market is following very strong technicals. Like it's drawing it to it's very accurate right now. Okay, so look, starting next week, Monday at 10 a.m. leading economic indicators. Okay, I'm not familiar with the batch of indicators that will come up, but at 10 a.m. I do expect some volatility and a spike there. Okay, and this expect it to spike or to sell off the market, because if it's showing that the market is really contracting and we're really in a recession right now, or a possible recession is increasing, the market could sell off. But if it's showing, hey, look, the market is really strong, Q4 earnings is really strong, this could spike the market. So 10 a.m. on Monday, that's going to be important. Okay. US manufacturing and services PMI lately, all of these numbers have been showing that the economy is contracting. Okay, so I just want to show you guys here.
Oh my god, I just found something on MSTR.
So here's the data, okay? Here's the global manufacturing PMI data on a trend. Notice how we're slowing down, and we dropped off in November and December. The market is this is manufacturing in the United States. It is dropping off. And if the market sees something like 43, 42, like, yeah. So this is supporting the idea that we are already in a recession. Okay. Like, so I want to keep, so I can't imagine this to be bullish.
Going down anymore.
Okay, so Thursday, so it's 9:45 a.m. So it's gonna move the market here, and then New home sales are going to be weak. Durable goods orders should be weak too. Continuing job sales, no one
That
cares
just
about
sounds
that
so
number.
horrible.
So Thursday might be slow, but Thursday is Tesla, right? When's Tesla earnings again? Thursday after hours, or is it Wednesday? Wednesday after hours. Okay, and then on Friday, we have inflation at 8:30. Yeah, PCE. That number is going to be important for the market, but it's also going to be okay. So that number should be down because inflation is dropping off. Remember, inflation is now dropping off. We know that. We know that interest rates are going up or whatever, but the question is, we don't know. Nobody knows if we're in a recession or not, right? It's kind of a political thing right now because the reason why it's political is because there's a body, the NBER, the National Bureau of Economic something. They decide when a recession occurs, right? And it's a bunch of people who decides it, right? You're looking at data. So it's kind of political. We just don't know when they're going to announce it if they do. Okay, so this number is going to be important. So that's for this week. So it's this week. Do you agree, Esther? It's going to be on focus. Is going to be on earnings. It's going to be on earnings. Focus will be on earnings this week. It's not so much the economic data. It's going to be on
and small caps and growth. Because if Tesla, remember I said, hey guys, once Tesla hits the bottom, the growth is going to go with it because Tesla's the front runner for mega cap growth. Then everything else trickles, right? So look what I found on MSTR. Oh my God. Okay. Look at MSTR, okay? Earnings, February 2nd, it's coming up. So keep that in mind. It's like right around when Apple does. Look at last quarter. It was here, okay? And then the previous quarter. So look at this year, negative 92. They over leveraged, negative, right? That was horrible, right? Negative 4,000%. Like, wow. You can't get any worse. Okay, so now look at the improvement. Positive for 2023. Your forecast, positive, right? Look at the quarterly. It's way better than what it used to be, right? Positive. So, okay, I see why the July is going back. It's going down. It's expected to go down. So if you take a look at this, you already know, okay, how long can I swing for if it's a long term, right? All you have to do is look at forecasts. And then if you look at, so now you know, okay, swing until June, sell it after that, go short, and then swing it back again when it gets cheap. And then when you go to SEC filings, then, okay, now we're getting more confirmation because MSTR is like one of the biggest Bitcoin holders, right? And what have they been doing? Oh, look, 13G. This is an institution. How much is this for? Where does it show? Do you see the amount? Number of shares which so power to vote. Okay, they bought 1.2 million shares. Okay, that's good. Ownership of 5% or less of a class. Okay, so there's a 13G filed now, like the past like week or so, right? And then here's where it was bottomed out. Okay, yeah, it's an 8K.
8K, for the audience who doesn't know, 8K is when a company files an event or something that happened to the company that is deemed material. That's a really important word, material, enough to move the stock price. If that comes out, it's like
wow.
an issue with the 8K. Okay, so something just happened for MSTR. That's why they posted that.
Look, acquired 2,395, $42 million in cash, whatever, all this stuff, right? So you guys could look at this 8K later, but that's a pretty healthy sign for Bitcoin. Like it seems like there can't be any more bottom, right? So if that's the bottom, then if you wanted to know what the target is, okay. So we already kind of like talked about it, but for this week, say you want to like know when to sell, or if you want to like just jump into weeklies. Last week we saw MSTR go from like 200 to 240, right? So if it moved 40 points on a $3,000 Bitcoin move, then we know that, okay, another 40 points is possible for the peak. But it's more safer going into next week for that 40 points.
Yeah.
But if it does touch 40 points or like 270 or so, let's see where 50 delta is. So 50 delta is like right here anyways. So from here, you add the 25. So 25, so it could go to like 167.50, right? Like right here, where the 20 delta is. So you could aim for like 265, I would say, for this week. If you want something like, oh, it starts going up, or if it just pulls back. So just keep that area in mind, as well as the recent pullback, which was like 225, right? So if you just look at the chart, and then like 225, is that 225? Boom, 225. Okay, that's the support. And then here's the near-term target to break out over 252. But really, you could just like, we'll just like create a mark, 267.50, right? So add a drawing, or create an alert, right? Activate, create an alert. So you could just like create an alert 67.50, or maybe like right there at above. Okay, make it like 50. And as soon as it hits that area, then we just sell our short term or put a stop loss, right? Now we know our areas. I already have my support line, and then we know our resistance line for this week. So it's on pace into that $700 leap, like leap move. Oh wow, look, now it's $800. Isn't that weird? The expected move, even though it goes up $100, is still going bigger and bigger and bigger. This is why you need leaps, because it's increasing so fast that the Vega increases this premium, and because the expected move derived from at the money call, at the money put, if these numbers are getting bigger, the expected move naturally gets bigger. So you want the leap early. Okay, your turn.
Okay, so I'm gonna. I guess the only thing I want to say last is The only thing I want to say last is this. See this pattern here. This pattern is unique. Okay, it's unique because it's a big. This combination of three here is a big pattern in technical analysis. Okay, so this is called a evening star reversal pattern. Okay. So I'm just going to show you the picture, like these three candles. It's a very bullish pattern for some reason, and it's showing up right between the moving average. So I like see this pattern here. It's a very big pattern in technical analysis for a reason. Okay, so it's when it shows up in the chart, there's a big reversal happening. It usually signifies that this is the bottom of this trend, is what this is saying. Okay, so but the problem of this pattern is the trend is hard to define here. Is where is this trend? Is it saying that this is the trend? We don't know if where this trend starts, but this move is bullish with the volume. It's bullish. So technically, I'm leaning towards, if we're really bullish by the end of the week, 410. At least we might get to that 403 level. Okay, so that's what I'm hoping for. Okay, so that's the end. Do you guys have any questions for us in the community, on the comments? Anything? If you don't, if you do.
Okay, so I can go over ARKK real quick. Okay, ARKK South. Actually, I was going to show you SPY real quick. This expected move, again, remember last week it was choppy and like sideways, and then it pulled back once. This week is just showing the same thing. 7 points is not that big, especially for a week where Microsoft is reporting earnings, meaning Microsoft's not going to move it that much. It's not enough power to move the whole market. So since all the major mega caps are reporting after FOMC, I would just be careful trading the SPY, take your profits fast. We've seen what happened last week, so just be cautionary. Going into tomorrow will be the biggest move, 3 points. After that, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point, 1 point. But that doesn't mean it moves 1 point. It could actually go up 3 points, down 7 points the next day, up like 12 points. Does that make sense? So it could be really volatile. We just don't know which way. It's not really showing because they're all like the implied volatility is just like around similar. You can usually tell like if it's a little bit different. ARKK is same bullish. Look at the put to call ratio. Oh my goodness. Wow. Look. clearly, it's gonna go up, right? There's double the calls. Like people that were shorting it that created like those ETFs to say, hey, it's like underneath. Like you can't get any lower than this, right? So you can just aim for the next range, which we've been talking about 50. But then if you want the near term, you could probably get like a 2-point move, like pretty easy, right? 2 points. Yeah, 2 points. I didn't even have to look at it. I traded this before a lot. 2 points. 2 points for the week. So you could get 38, 39, or you could get like 39 for the next week, or you could get the long term. I'll just use the expected move. Like for right now, if you just use that, it's going to go past that. The longer the expiry, you can go a little bit above the expected move. The closer the expiry, I would stay inside the expected move, or just right inside there, right? So if you have your targets from the early of the week, if it pulls back, you know how high you can target. So if this goes down to 34 and you're wondering, oh, I want ARKK, you know that you can get the 38. Does that make sense? So just have that ready, because if it pulls back, right? If this pulls back 2 points, then that means your 38 will be what, like 18 cents, right? 10 cents, 11 cents. But then boom, like it starts going up and it starts rushing up. Then you know that 38 strike could become like $1 in the money. And that's how you get those 1,000%ers. So you can either trade the short term, have your targets ready, or just build into like the one that's showing like higher gaps, like here, bigger gap here, bigger gap here between these. Don't trade these, right? It doesn't look like much is moving in between these weeks. Does that make sense? Any other questions? Any questions? No? I think that was a good review, right? Oh, yeah, I think that was a good review. Okay. Well, that was about an hour. Thank you guys for joining. Michael, do you want to say something?
Okay, see you guys tomorrow morning. And for the penny stock traders, we trade at 7 a.m. together. There's a few of us, me, Teika, and a few of us, and we do the analysis. It's like so you could scalp penny stocks too, right? So okay, bye.
Yeah, Michael finds like such great ones.